Making a video in a minute. Hello friends, hello Meg, how are you today? So, I don't have an exciting video for you, so if you would like to just skip this video, I suggest you do that now. Basically, this is going to be just rambling. I've had a long week at work, and the weekend prior I was in Colorado for 4 days. So this video is basically just going to be me telling you things that happened in Colorado, which is mostly going to be subdivided. I like lists into 4 things that either happened or that I want to talk about just in general. So 5 years ago, I went to Colorado for 3 months, and I lived there up in the mountains in this lodge in like the woods. It was beautiful. You don't get any cell service up there. You don't get to be connected to people. And I was living there with 30 other people, and it was great. So this was our 5-year reunion, and we all flew back. Well, some people drove, but I flew back because I wasn't about that life. And spent some time there. Anyway, so some things that happened while I was there. Number 1, I learned that asthma and altitude do not mix. And if you ever get like tired when you walk up the stairs, like imagine that times 1,000,000, and then you feel like something is just squeezing your lungs and you can't breathe anymore. And that was me all the time, like just walking upstairs. It was horrible. Horrible. The time there was great. The altitude was horrible. I'm very glad that I live on completely flat ground, like just mildly above sea level. Okay, so some fun airport facts. They're not facts, but they're fun airport stories. So when I was leaving to come home from Colorado, there's this teeny tiny little airport that I have to sit in, and I was there for 3 hours because my ride dropped me off very early. So like this place literally has 3 doors that you can go in, and like just 1 seating area, and like to get onto your plane you have to walk out onto the runway. So it's got 3 quote-unquote gates, which are not really gates at all, just 1 giant seating area. And so I'm sitting there and I'm on the phone with my mother, and this plane had just landed, which is the plane that I was going to get on in like an hour and a half. And this, like, all the people are getting off, and this guy walks in and he's talking on his phone and he looks my way, and I'm like, that guy looks like Jason Momoa. He looks so familiar. I'm on the phone with my mom, so I'm not saying this out loud. I'm just like thinking this in my head as I'm watching this person. And he went, he like turned around to like push the door open with his back, and I saw his tattoo on his arm, and I was like, I just saw an actor. And so while I was sitting in this tiny little airport for 3 hours, I saw Jason Momoa just walk through. I was very surprised. I'm not the kind of person that would be like, oh my goodness, I'm so starstruck, this is amazing. I was just very surprised that he came through such like a tiny little airport. But I'm not surprised at the same time, because that makes sense. Anyway, so I get on my plane finally, and you have to fly from this tiny plane to Denver so I can get my connecting flight from Denver to Chicago. And we're sitting there, and everyone's on the plane, and everyone's talking, and I'm not talking because I'm not friendly. And the pilot does his normal, like, welcome to flight, 6275 from Durango to Denver. Only instead of saying from Durango to Denver, he was like, from Durango to Aspen. And I kid you not, just like the entire plane lost their mind because everyone thought they were on the wrong plane. And apparently I was the only person that noticed the flight attendant just look back and shake her head and go, no, we're going to Denver. We're going to Denver. It's okay. But like the people next to me were literally about to get up and like run off the plane because they were like, we can't go to Aspen. We need to be in Denver. That was fun because I was like, okay, let's go to Aspen then. Let's go to Denver. Let's go wherever. I don't care. It'll keep me from having to go back to work. But it was very interesting. Like this one lady finally got up and walked up, and she was like, are we going to Denver? Are we going there? I just want to make sure. So the pilot had to get back on and go, this is the flight to Denver, in case you were worried. And so I'm sitting on the plane, and of course, as I am always doing, I was texting Meg, and I told her, these ladies in front of me, they live in Jersey. They live in Jersey, this is so exciting. It wasn't very exciting, but I was pretty excited because I like anything that reminds me of Jersey, because it reminds me of Meg. But she was like, Squid, how can you tell? Now, I don't know if any of you have heard a New Jersey accent, or if you're familiar with what this sounds like, but essentially everything that this woman was encapsulated a New Jersey accent. And I simply had to tell Meg that her entire being just oozed New Jerseyan. I'm not sure if that's the proper term, but that's what I'm gonna go with. So that was basically my trip, which I didn't tell you at all about. I just told you about the airport and having asthma. But I got to like walk in the trees and by mountains and got to see people that I hadn't seen in 5 years. It was very exciting. And as like a little, while I was there, a little guide, a little like insight into my friendships was the fact that all of my friendships are built on a large amount of sarcasm. Because why not? Because I love sarcasm and I love making fun of people. And so most people tend to make fun of me because I'm very easy to make fun of. I'm a very short individual and I like jokes, so I usually make jokes about myself. And as I was getting on the plane that would take me to Colorado, I was walking down and I went to like sit down and I literally just like this part of my head just like ran into the overhead compartment so loudly that the lady behind me just went, oh, and had to make sure I was okay. So I was relaying this story to a friend of mine, and as soon as the words were out of my mouth, my friend just went, what? How did you do that? Did they have a step stool? I thought that was hilarious, but also partially true. And I was also surprised upon reflection that I could actually hit my head into something that was overhead. So I'm very proud of myself. High five. Yeah. And the other time, so one of my friends was from Canada, and she had flown in and drove with 2 friends of hers that were just dropping her off. Just met the 2 friends, didn't know them at all until a day before, and we're all going out to eat together. We're walking into this bar, and there's this nice little placard that says handicap access in the back, so there's like a ramp back there you can get to the bar. And this woman that I just met a day before looks at me and just goes, you should go in through the back then. I was like, whoa! Whoa! I don't know you enough for this yet. But it was also hilarious, so I also laughed really hard. And then I had to tell everyone else because no one else had heard it. That about sums up Squid's friendships. That also sums up my trip to Colorado, which doesn't sum it up at all, but I don't like to ramble or talk or do a lot of things involving communication. I promise that my next video will be far more exciting and it won't be anywhere near as boring, and I'll actually do something that maybe people want to listen to.